Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to SoulCARE. How are you? And this fine day on this 20th of December, getting closer to the Christmas holidays. And happy holidays to everybody. And, we didn't even acknowledge, oh, my camera went crazy. We didn't even acknowledge Hanukkah, so happy Hanukkah. Maybe I did, but Hanukkah's passed now. Happy Hanukkah. I'm just going on my gift list and crossing it, checking it twice. So I was just thinking who I'm going to send some courses to because I was just thinking the best way for some of my people that know me, but some people that know me are friends of mine, but friends of friends, I guess you'd say. And I think that'd be really my course that would help. So I'm going through my course, literally going through my course list and picking out a course that I think would be good for them. So for the holidays, I'm bringing enlightenment. So because there's a festival of light. So that's what I'm doing. And I suggest maybe you, if you want to do that too, maybe you guys should think about that. Let me put the comments up so I can see your comments. Here you go. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Tina. Linda Thorpe. Hello. Hello, everybody. All these lovely people that I recognize. The community. How are you doing? Before this, I was outside doing woodworking, believe it or not, and I was doing some electricity work. And I was doing, of course, some watering, gardening, and some doggy work. But now I'm back doing uh, Christmas holiday things, and that's why I have my list here. And I was just looking at the 28-day transformation course. It's such a good course. That might be the one the most. But anyway, if any of you want to do that for a gift for somebody, if you feel that instead of a gift basket, you give them an item for light, you can go onto my school, JP School of Mystical Arts, and I actually have a holiday sale. I continued on. I told the web people to put it on because there's still people that want to give gifts out. So there's a code which is I created called Spirit 2021. And I think it's a good idea if you feel inclined to go through the list of different courses, just like I'm doing, and feel what speaks to a friend of yours, somebody that can help, someone maybe who's going through grief, somebody who wants to know more about meditation. And there's some really great ones here that you'd love. So great. Wizard from the Guides. Yes, great one. Yes, that's what's my book, but I have a guide course, which is a lot of the book is in that guide course. I just gave that to someone. I just gave someone the what course was it? The 20-day transformation course. I gave that over the weekend to someone else, and a day in the heaven worlds. And then I gave someone a psychic certification course, and then blown away. So, hi, Joanne. Hi, Isabella. Oh, yes. So 25% of all courses and certifications. So we put that on there. I put that as Spirit 25. I said for people that want to give gifts, these types of gifts, I think it's the best for bringing enlightenment to people. I put 25% of anything. So, but you have to use that code to check out Spirit 25. Thanks for putting that up. So it's a good idea. So if you have any questions about the courses, ask me now if you'd like to. And that's the best. That would be the best. This is the best time since we're making our holiday list here. I just came back from Los Angeles. It was a very interesting time there, and different perspective from San Diego. So interesting. Couldn't wait to get back to my little house. Hello from Sweden. Hello, Ulrika. I'm still getting over kind of my the other day, Thursday, I had my last call with my Mediumship 2 students. And there was a lady there, Jenna, her name was. And she was, I opened up the floor to all the students to do any readings they wanted to for myself or Liz. And she did a reading and she was able to bring through my mother in ways that no one has ever done before, down to what she was wearing all the time, what she used to wear this outfit, her nails, that she was in the choir, playing with an organ, all these details. And I was blown away. And it was from Mediumship 2. And she was really, really incredible. And I asked her, I said, who have you studied with besides my course? She said, these 2 German mediums. But she was so great at her poise, her delivery, her expression, her sense of being an ambassador for the spirit world with a positive message, but poignant messages. So it was really, 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 really great. And I never get my readings, so it was very interesting for me. How about some questions too? What is the best course for mediumship? Mediumship 1 would be the best one. Mediumship 1 course is the best for beginners. That's definitely the best one. And if you do give these courses to people, especially the certification courses, I want you to tell them in the card or wherever you present to them that please, you've given this to them for their enhancement, and please stay with it. Let it be a commitment. They should really commit to it. because it could change their lives. These courses are that way. So when you do give this to people, you should probably put that in there. Please make a commitment for this if that's appropriate for you guys. Okay. Okay. Will I be at Omega this summer? Ron, no, I will not be at Omega this summer. I'm no longer working there. I've really retired from that. I was there for about 15 years. And no, I'm not traveling as much. I'm traveling in April. I'm going to an event in Peekskill, New York, at a theater there where they've wanted me, well, they've had me in a contract to do a demonstration there in person for about 2 years, right before COVID. And so I am going to do that in April. So that's the only gig I have for next year, personally speaking. I will have more added for sure, but I'm doing twice as many online mediumship and also 2 evenings of psychic work because we've had so many people want to know just basic psychic information about how they can become more intuitive, protecting their energies, stuff that I have courses there for. But I'm going to do 2 evenings a month of the psychic and 2 evenings of, I'm sorry, 2 evenings a month, one of psychic, one of mediumship every month. Okay. It's an amazing gift idea. I was looking around the line for a gift basket. So I was like, wait a minute. I have a school with can enlighten people. And it's not a basket of chocolate or pretzels. It's like can help them change their lives. What am I doing? So that's why I came up with my list here. Okay. All right. I am a Freddie Mercury fan, and he has come up a lot in the past week. I think it was a source of light in the world. I agree. I just heard something very interesting. I don't know if you guys have heard this, but right before this phone call, I was having trouble getting online, and I called my IT guy, and he said, he goes, how's everything been and so forth. I said, what do you do for the holidays? He goes, well, I'm bringing my daughter to see the new Matrix movie. And I said, oh, I didn't know there was a new Matrix movie. Maybe you guys do know it. And he said, oh, yeah. And, since the original one, which I thought was pretty incredible with Keanu Reeves, I just thought it was really interesting because when I had my near-death experience, I experienced like a Matrix type of situation. And he said, well, something really interesting has happened. Since that was made, the two people that made it, they're both, I guess they're siblings. They both transitioned to female after that movie came out. And then they both of them on their own, not together to decide to do this, but on their own. So wow, that's really interesting, isn't it? So I was like, well, I wonder if it's genetic. Like, what is there? And then so this movie should be very interesting. And they said it's part of their journey. So I look forward to seeing it. It should be very, very entertaining and educational on so many different levels, right? How do we get to the holidays without grief? Well, number one, realize that there is no death, that they're always around you, that you can speak to them anytime if you just quiet your mind and you go into space and just ask them to come into your mind to speak to you and listen with your heart. I also suggest strongly for a lot of people that they sit into the place at the table for them. They wrap good gifts for them, but you could put aside some time, 5-10 minutes to sit and be with them. Invite them to a space where you are by yourself and converse with them. Remember that they're a spirit, you're a spirit, you're a soul having this human experience, and they're a soul. The only difference between them and us is we're in the body, they're out of the body. So the essence is still there. The essence is still the same. We're just limited by this human covering, right? So the more you can release that covering in that, you don't overthink it. Don't overthink it and feel with your heart what that essence, that prana is. You should be able to have a wonderful conversation with them. Don't doubt it because doubt blocks it. Fear blocks it. So get into that lovely space where you can do it that way. That will help you. Okay. I'm very well, Nancy. Thank you. How do you connect with you? Well, right. How do you connect with your guides better? Again, I have a course on that. So I just don't want to say, well, do this because it's a whole thing about it. So again, it's sitting in the quiet, but go look up the course in the school about the guides because that'll be just the description will give you more information. Okay. Hi, Lori Smith. I thought you were possibly having a 5-day in October with Lynn. Yes, you're right. You're right. You are very right, Lori Smith. I am doing a 5-day with it. You're right. You are right. Thank you for reminding me. I'm doing a 5-day in October with Lynn Probert. It's a 5-day in person here in San Diego. I'm also in August doing a 2 or 3-day with Gordon Smith from England. And I got to put those up on the website. So I will put those up on the website. After the first of the year, they're going to go up on the website. But that's very true. Thank you for reminding me that, Lori. Okay. Thank you, Barbara, wishing me well. Thank you. Elizabeth Glumsky, please be aware there was a troll on here. Oh, it's okay. Trolls are, I don't know. Maybe they learn things. That's fine. I don't see them putting anything on it. Hi, Sue Wells. Very good. You should I put a chair by the Christmas tree so the loved one's going to come to visit. I know it happens. Very, very much so. It's always when we put our intention and they're there when they come there. Very good. Yeah, it's very great. So that's fantastic. Do I believe in reincarnation? I do believe in reincarnation. So carnation, the physical, coming back in. I do believe the soul inhabits many bodies. The one soul takes on different types, different bodies, different languages, the countries, different planets, solar systems, if you will. I think that we have to be careful not to be caught up in just limiting the soul, that this is a linear world, three-dimensional world we're in, and that there are the spirit worlds outside of this linear dimension, this linear world. It's there's no time on the other side, so we just have to take that into consideration. What is the best way to connect with spirit for physical healing? Again, another way is to number one, bring yourself into the quiet, into the silence. And see, I might have different ways than other people do, but I get into going within and seeing, kind of going inside and seeing going that journey of. There was a great movie called Fantastic Voyage when I was a kid. You might remember it. They shrunk people down and they put them in the bloodstream of people, and they could see the corpuscles and the cells and so forth. I try to go in, and I've done physical healings even did for my doggy, and I actually go in and I see it, and I just become aware of what disruption is going on in the body. And you can do it by yourself with a meditation, asking the body, why are you not at ease? What is the physical problem? Where's it stemming from? You got to find out the root of the problem. Where is it coming from? So all physical problems, I believe, there's an imbalance or a dis-ease somewhere, or a negative thought somewhere. So remember, there's a mental body, physical body, emotional body, spiritual body. So what one of those bodies is not in balance that have caused this physical situation? That's the first step. The first step in healing is awareness. So try to go in and become aware. Okay. Thank you, Sharon. Merry Christmas to you as well. Thanks, Patty. How do I feel about guided meditation? I love guided meditation. I do it all the time. I think guided meditation is great. I think in some ways it's easier for people because then they don't have to think; they can just receive it. If you try to do it yourself, sometimes you overthink it, so it gets in the way. Remember that meditation is a way to bring you to another level of awareness, level of consciousness. And so, if you have a guided meditation, you could just let yourself drift off and listen to the words, experience it, see what you're going to see. Not really kind of be more passive than active. That's always the best way to receive a meditation. I have some great ones that I've done over the years that you can check out online or in the school. There are free ones. Yeah. Okay. Lisa Marie Lots, how did your near-death experience go down? How did it change you? Oh, it changed me quite a bit. I was just speaking about it to the gentleman about the Matrix. Um, Many have heard this before, but it's always good to hear it again. That I was very ill. I'm not going to be graphic, but I was for 12 hours. I was throwing up for 12 hours and with blood. And then I was fine for like a half an hour and then again. So to make a long story short, a friend of mine came to the house and I went to the restroom and my head hit the sink. I went down the ground and I popped right on my body and I'm looking down my body and I'm all of a sudden I'm aware that I'm not supposed to go at this time. It's not my time. But I'm like, what's going on? And I saw my cousin Patricia, who completed suicide probably 30 years or 35 years before, who actually taught me metaphysics, which is very interesting as a child. And I'd never seen her. I'd never been able to connect with her in my life, which is another interesting fact. This was the very first time. And I looked at her and said, what's going on? She said telepathically, it's going to be all over. And me keeping your personality, which you do, my sense of humor, I said, you mean over, or over? I need to find out what's going. Because I was like, and she vanished. She disappeared. And I was very aware suddenly of this matrix, this sense of everybody has above their heads like this ribbon, if you will, a cord that plugs into like a tapestry or a matrix, right? And I realized at that time, I had the awareness that every thought we ever had, every thought we give out to the universe that we send out has a color, has a texture, has a density to it. And if it's a thought of a good thought, a high frequency thought, higher vibrational thought, the colors will be lighter and pastel and it'll be more expansive. And I remember that that thought would go into that entire matrix or tapestry and influence the entire tapestry. And it was every single individual in the world had the cord coming down from that same tapestry and matrix down into their heads, and that they were also then influenced by my thoughts, whatever amount of that, and it made a lot of sense to me. And I realized that any negative thoughts that I'd have, any fearful thoughts that I have, the color would be very dark, much darker, and it would be very dense. It wouldn't be expansive. And I remember that would also go in and kind of make the colors like not too nice in there, and not nice designs. And I thought, wow, if only people knew that they got to be, keep it clean, because at the end of life, I had that awareness that when you go to the end of life, part of your life review is to look at that, what you've created. What have you left the world? Have you colored that tapestry? Were you positive in your design of the tapestry, or were you not? It's like a kaleidoscope of thoughts and words and feelings and what you're sending out, and you're responsible. And one of the greatest things that happens after you leave the physical body and you look back at your life, you do see the design that you've created. You do see what you've left behind in humankind. And when we talk about we hear about those such things as hell or purgatory or those different levels or earthbound. Well, sometimes it's kind of a mindset of those beings who look back at their lives and they feel very full of regret for what they've left this world, or what they have not left this world, how they didn't love themselves, how they could have done so much better, how they hurt people. And that's the worst thing. That's the hard thing. So that's the closest I could tell you to what that experience was like. And immediately then, from that awareness, I saw my father in a garden, and he had passed over several years before. And he was at a rose garden. He was wearing a tan suit. He was 27 years old, and he held up a yellow rose to me. And he said, "It is not your time. You need to go back." And before I knew it, I was back in my body, and I remembered very clearly, I felt the pain in my head. And my friend Brian was looking down at me, and Brian said, "You got to wake up, James, wake up, wake up." I heard him, and I opened up my eyes and my mouth, and the first words out of my mouth were, "Dying is easy, living is not living. Dying is easy, living is hard. Dying is easy, living is hard." That was it. And then I went to the hospital for 2 weeks, and I had to put 5 pints of blood into me. I had what was called, they diagnosed it as a Mallory-Weiss tear, which is a tear in your esophagus, an artery. And I don't know how I got that, but I remember from food or the night before, and they said. So yeah, that was pretty well. And it was over Thanksgiving, so that's changed my life. And what happened, interestingly enough, probably about 2 years from that point, because people say, "Why would you go through that?" Well, I was doing a lot of demonstrations at conferences and so forth. And I remember one of the leaders of a conference, she organized it. She said, came up to me, and she'd known me for many years. She said, "The quality of your readings have changed. You're much like higher with guides and guidance, and much, and the moment she said that, I looked back and I was aware of how the energy has shifted in my readings. And that's true. That's what happened. I went up to another level, I guess, in the overall expansion of of the messages. So it wasn't just evidential messages. It was how to live a more spiritual life, or how you yourself need to open up. So it did change me in that respect. So, and me, I share everything. So that was that. And so be mindful that once I say that to all of you here, and they say, be responsible for your thoughts, words, and deeds, now I've given you back your responsibility for life. So you can't one day pass over in the spirit world and go, I didn't know about that. They'll say, your guides might say, "Oh, yes, you were on a Zoom call with James from Prague, and he warned you about your thoughts, words, and deeds. So keep them up." Okay. That's the long end answer to that. Diane, just brought you a book, Talking to Heaven. Oh, thank you. From DIL. I know what DIL is. Who recently lost both birth parents. It helped me so much years ago when my mother died and father had shortly thereafter. Most died both by suicide. Thank you for your work. Thanks, Diane. Thank you very much. Important to note that, Diane, and for everybody here, that one of the insights that we've received over the many years of doing this work, and I used to work with Dr. Brian Weiss, the past life regressionist, that the soul comes back, and the time we spend on this earth, whether it's, I don't know, going through birth and dying as a baby, or leaving as a baby, or 10 years or 20 years or 100 years, it doesn't matter to the soul. See, it doesn't matter. The physical part of us, the human part, "Oh, we should live 80 or 90 years." Remember, this is a schoolroom for your soul. And all this place here is about experiences. It's not about judgment, it's about experiences. It's about observation. And that's really what it's about. So when you look at life, look at your soul experiences. That's what it's about. And when a soul comes back and is signed up, let's say it's like a school, a class, and they've signed up for so many classes till age 10 because they fulfilled their contract. They've learned a lot. That's all they need at this time. And then they go home, graduation. That's really what it's about. It's not about physical life. It's about your soul life. So I want to point that perspective out to a lot of you because that might help you in your understanding. It's helped me. Okay. Yeah, this in the school. The school, you should browse the courses there to because again, I have a lot of courses. A lot of you asking questions that are in a lot of those courses, and we have 25% off on all the courses if you're interested. Cave feathers. What happens when a soul is miscarried? They come back again the same mother, or are they raised on the other side? I'm still confused about this. Why can't they do both? Why is there just one rule, one way of doing something? And, why do they just have to do one thing? So, and I don't know till I pass over. You won't know till you pass over, but the options are definitely there. And I've heard both options. I've heard that it's mostly a condition that the mother and this soul, this two souls, before the mother came back into the incarnation, they agreed upon her going through a miscarriage. And really, a miscarriage and an abortion, by the way, is a lesson for the mother. And it's not for that soul, it's for the mother because it's the mother's sense of awareness about loving herself or not loving herself, or maybe I destroyed the baby. Which not. So, an abortion I'm all about I'm all about giving a woman a choice for abortion. Have to, because to me, the soul doesn't come into that body till 7 years, 7 months, 6 months, 7 months. Stays it probably about 10 months. So I think I'm totally for an abortion if it needs to be, because to me, it's a lesson for the mother's soul. It has nothing to do with that soul that's in the side per se. Might help her with that lesson, but that's what from my point of view. Okay. And also miscarriages is interesting too. Spirit has said that miscarriages, in a way, is also preparing the womb, that space, that area, physically, for the next soul to come in. So it has to happen physically for that mother to. That's another reason why. And then you also asked, can they grow up on the other side? Spirit does grow up. There are some souls that choose to stay on the other side, grow up as babies, growing up into being children, and having caretakers take care of them. I wrote a book called Growing Up in Heaven about that. There are those souls that'll come back, but remember also that we tend to come back in group souls. So you have a group soul of people. That doesn't mean that you can't belong to another group soul, by the way. But the people you know in your life at this time is just group soul. Okay. And that, otherwise it'll be too complicated. So we'll keep it simple. Okay. Solitaire. Hi. I had a stroke and in the ER, I left my body. You look very pretty. You love that. And watch the doctors work on me. Okay. I saw a beautiful white tunnel in the ceiling of the room and it was filled with pure love and joy. Joy, love. I wanted to go there so badly. Then I heard the voice of my deceased grandmother. She said, "It's not your time yet." And then I was pulled back to the body by a white cord. That's correct. Very interesting, Solitaire. I'm sure that has helped you in your life because it's exactly what I went through. The white cord, or we call it the silver cord, is that connection of the spirit body to the physical body. And the silver cord, when people talk about near-death experience, they're aware of this cord. It's almost like the old days in the 60s, when I was a little boy, the spacewalks, when the astronauts would be in space. The cord was to the capsule, connected to the capsule. Very similar. That's connected to the physical body, the prana. So when that cord is severed, that's when death occurs. That no longer the oxygen, that's it. The prana's gone. That's the silver cord. Good. I hope it's changed your life, Solitaire. And I'm sure your words have taught many other people. If you share your story with people, that'll help them too. So remember, don't keep it to yourself. You had that experience for others as well. Okay. Holly, I want to start having more positive thoughts no matter what my circumstance. So first thing, Holly, what other people think of you is none of your business. So we got to change our way of thinking. During this pandemic, I'm having a hard time loving others who show little concern about COVID. How can I change anger into love? And when their poor choices affect me personally? Well, number one, don't be around people that have poor choices. How can I say? I had to let go of some people that had no respect for a space or where we were or whatever. It's just their choice, but I don't want to be around it. I don't have to be around it. I wouldn't judge them. I would just wouldn't put myself around that space. People that are in your space should enable you, not disable you. But I think you have to. You can't look at other people for who you are to give you the love that you want. You have to love yourself. No one can love you more than you love yourself. And what other people think of you is none of your business. The 28-day transformation course is for you. You need to take that, please. I think you have to take that course. And the 28-day transformation course is a course that you take every day for like 15 minutes. And you can't skip a day. It's a progressive course, so it builds up on each other. But it's a real self-awareness, loving yourself. You see where you left off what you took into your life, the pain that you took in. You become aware of other people's pain that you're making your pain. So it's a really important course. There's also another 7-day energy cleanse. I have it right here. That's a really 1 week. You can try that, and if you like that, do something else if you feel entitled to. If you feel you need to, 7-day energy cleanse is good because sometimes we carry other people's energy in our space too, and we work out their energy instead of our own energy. We're activating that negative energy around us instead of our own. So it's good to know whose energy we're with here. Okay. Louise, how does one know if the mediumship course is right for them? Do you apply? Thank you. Louise, Mediumship 1 is a course that you take for yourself and you do the exercises and the meditations and you feel if it works for you. And that's how you figure it out. Or it's at psychic course and you see the difference between the two because it's a very different energy. Psychic is easier for people because it's more natural to us. Everybody's intuitive, one degree or another. Mediumship is really not only using your intuition, but building your energy frequencies of your energy to a level where you're able to interpret from the spirit world. You bring yourself up to a high level of awareness. So the psychic thing is easier, psychic course is easier. So the only thing I could say is take both or take one course in either one, but it's over there and feel your way through it, see what resonates with your own soul. The most important thing when you take any of these courses, and I just wrote this to a friend of mine, you have to go from your heart, not from your head. So bring your head to your heart. Don't overthink it. Feel it with your heart. Your soul is tucked neatly behind your heart. So go with your heart. Your heart will tell you. Your heart, your intuition, your intuitive self, that gut response. Your second, third, and fourth chakras right here. Second, third, and fourth chakras are your emotional centers. So that's where all of us feel energy right away. We initially feel the energy, second, third, fourth chakra. So when you meet somebody, first thing you feel the energy of that person. They feel good, they feel bad. The places you go to, maybe go to a space and you don't feel comfortable. That's because you're feeling it. I walked into Union Station this in LA this weekend, and I didn't feel comfortable at all. And next thing you know, there's a confrontation with the lady. I said, "Leave me, get away from me." And I just didn't like the feeling. So that's your intuition, right? So that's something you have to first realize that. To feel more comfortable with that, and the mediumship is a little bit different. Okay, great. Okay, other questions. Okay. Hi, Kate. What happens to a soul who's miscarried? I just talked about that. They come back. I just spoke about that. Right. Okay. Next question. And Connor, James. Oh, you're the other one. Okay. Carlene Reese. I've heard that we chose our path before we were born. That's very true. What confuses me is this. Okay. Do we choose to come here and be a murderer or something bad, or is that matter of free will? Well, that's really interesting. I guess if you come back here, we all come back to decide that this is our schoolroom and we learn lessons. And if we've evolved to a certain point when we're in school, we won't cheat on the test, right? We won't go backwards, but we have to have evolved. So if someone comes back here and they murder someone, then they haven't evolved because they don't realize that that's the wrong thing to do, right? So and that's what I'm going to say to that. But let's open that up a little bit more in saying that that soul has experienced before. Let's say murder. They've been murdered. They murdered someone. They murdered the whole murder thing. But let's say it's still in their fabric, and that this is their first lifetime that they're not going to be. That they're going to have the choice to evolve and live that out. They realize it's not the right thing to do. For all of us, the sense of the right from wrong is really embedded in our soul self. And that's why meditation is so important too, because you're going within. You're going back into your soul's vibration, your soul's fabric, and picking out what's right for you. Intuition is the soul's voice. So the more you tune into your intuition, you'll make the right choices. So that soul might come back and realize that there's a situation that's been set up perfectly for that soul to realize it can't murder someone, or maybe it doesn't feel the intuition because it's not ready yet, and it might. I mean, it's up to that soul's evolution, basically. Hopefully that answers it the best way I can. Hi, Peter. Here comes a very strange question. Peter, I'm used to strange questions. My friend this weekend said, listen, when you come to my house, I have a psycho dog. So I'm just warning you. And I said, I do psycho very well. And of course, the dog and I got along very well. Okay. Are we humans alone on the earth? No. Or are there other forms of beings like elves, fairies, etc.? Very much so, Peter. You in Sweden would know this because many people there are very aware of the other kingdoms that exist. Many, many kingdoms. The gnomes, the fairies, the divas. In Ireland with a lot of the fairies there too. They have leprechauns and so forth. I dealt with leprechauns once when I was in Ireland. Pretty interesting. I've worked with the diva kingdom. I honor the nature spirits. I think we're rolling it together, and we have to respect and be responsible for one another. And that's what we are. That's what we do. And that's why I go out and I feed them. I little put a crumb somewhere. I feed the flowers and trees, and I just do that. And they love it. They love it. And I have a beautiful garden because of it. So no, very much so. You're right on, Peter. Clarissa La Plante. I would love to take your class. Good. Go for it. What are you waiting for? I have strong premonitions and get very sad at times. That's not good. When I find out that I find out that we lost a family member, I get these kind of feelings and later think that they must have been why I felt so strong. So you're very, very intuitive, Clarissa. Wouldn't it be great to hone in on that and be in charge and be empowered by it and not let it happen to you? But you will know when you get a sense or a feeling that you're picking up intuitively, psychically, intuitively, you're picking up a certain experience that's going to happen. So that's something you should definitely hone in to your intuition. Really, really important to do that. Tonight's show, Clarissa and everybody that's watching and listening here, on Both Sides Now and Beyond with Kelly White, that'll be here at 6 o'clock. We're going to be doing 2022 predictions and astrology and celebrating the holidays. I'm going to be doing a lot of prediction work, and Kelly's going to talk about astrology for 2022. But I felt inspired to do some predictions as far as whatever subjects people bring about. If I'm getting a hit on something, I will talk about it. And if I'm not, I will not, because there are many things in the future that the universe will hide, or they call it veiled, but that we humans are not supposed to know about it because we have to go through those tests. So that does happen too. But I will pick up as much as I can on different subjects tonight. So it should be an interesting evening tonight. And then Kelly, of course, with her astrology, incredible astrology. Kelly, you are amazing. Kelly's watching and listening. We'll have a good time. So she has a lot of information to share with everybody. So you can put your seatbelts on. We'll be there tonight at 6 o'clock about 2022. And I have a whole thing about COVID too that I'm going to talk about. So it'll be interesting. Okay. Hi, Jen. I've always been psychically gifted, but the mediumship side opened up after my dad died. Very common, Jen. Very common for everybody that's watching. Usually after a child or a parent passes or a partner, you become more open. And maybe sometimes that's the agreement you've had before the incarnation. That was in your soul destiny path, your chart. So that does happen quite a bit. A lot of mediums become more aware when the loved one passes. Very common. Now, well, it's almost sometimes I think before you come back to the incarnation, there's an agreement made that, I'm going to go first. And because of my grief, because of my death, it's going to force you to question death, to force you to question God, to force you to question, where am I? And I think that's part of it. I really, really do. So it's very, very common, Judd. Please pursue it, because we need mediums. We need some good and qualified integral mediums here who have a respect and responsibility, and I think you'd make a great one. So go for it. If you can give the time and the energy and the patience for it, I think you'd do well with that. Good. Stephanie Spicer. Hi, Stephanie. Do we have more than one exit point, time to die? I believe we do. Someone else might say that. I believe I think there's a time to be born and a time to die, but I do believe there are times at exit points that we can go. I really do. Now, does our higher self influence us there? I think so. I do think so. Because I've been very ill on 2 different occasions. My deceased grandparents have said it was my choice to stay on Earth or to go. It was totally my decision. Were those possible times for me to die? Without a doubt. I think that might have been an exit point for you. Sure. There were several exit points I've had in my life, but there were also some times that I was saved because it was not my time. like that near the experience. But another thing happened to me when I was a little boy. No, I wasn't. I was 30 something years old. I was in LA and I had no money. Like I just moved here. I was in my 20s then. And I remember I had a real old car, and it was probably 1964, 66 Plymouth something. It was big. And I was on a Saturday night, and I was went to a club or party, and it was 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm driving down the street, Main Street in Hollywood, La Brea, and all of a sudden there was no gas gauge. The gas gauge didn't work, so I had no gas. It stops right there in the corner. I'm like, oh, okay, this is not great, but there's a gas station right here, so I'll go. So I went and went to the guy to get the gas. Um, and he said to me, and the gas tank was located behind the car. So it was one of those models where it was behind the car and under the trunk. So you have to go behind the car, bend down, and unscrew the cap and put it in there. And I didn't. I remember I went to the back of the car, unscrewed it. In other words, I have to go get a gas tank. So I went to go get the gas tank and filled up the gas, and I left the nozzle part. What happened was I brought back the tank to the gas tank to the car, put it down by the car. I don't have the nozzle. So I go back and get the nozzle from the gas tank, gas that left it there at the station. And I hear this big bang. Someone ran into the back of that car, and that car went flying up to this old sidewalk in this building. And it didn't dawn on me, but I was just saved. That could have been an exit point because obviously that driver didn't see that car. And I would have been bending down, putting gasoline into it. So it's like, wow. So that could have been an exit point. But I think I was got my guardian angels, my guides were around me. Happened 2 other times that happened. Were the exit points? It could have been, but I don't think so. But yeah, so we do. I think we have those. I believe we do. Okay, interesting story, huh? Naturally becoming. Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. I love that title, Naturally Becoming. Isn't that lovely? How do you surrender to trust that you are empowered and feel comfortable being who you are? You just got to love yourself. You got to go inside and find out what you are, who you are, not who you think you are, not what others think you are, but who you are. Yeah, when we come back to this earth, the very beginning of our time down here, sojourn, we're babies and we're usually very, very happy and lovely. And we bring in a lot of stuff, but we're pretty innocent and joyful as toddlers. We're joyful and happy. And until we become programmed by the adults, until we're forced to think a certain way, until we're forced to get away from the heart and into the head, to get an A in our class, to do what mommy and daddy want. So then we mix up love. I'll receive their love if I do what they want. That all gets screwed up. And then, of course, we don't realize at the time that they're probably more messed up in some ways than we probably were. Who knows? But I always say, go back. There's a lovely saying, always keep that child alive, that little child within. And I always have. I've always had that sense of being a kid, being innocent, freedom. I find stuff I just love about myself that's very different than anybody else. And I'm not talking about dead people, just my personality, things like I laugh at myself all the time. Everyone here is full of love. And it's almost when you say, naturally becoming, how do you remember? Go back to that love of who you are. Write down 10 things you love about yourself. Write down 10 things that you are uniquely different than anybody else that you can bring this world. Don't fit into anybody else because you'll never fit in. You'll never be happy. Here we go. There we are. Oscar Wilde. Be yourself. Everybody else is taken. Yeah. So that's very true. That's how you can do this, sweetheart. And you have the ability to do that. Go for it. Helena, do you have any books? Do you have any more books? I do. I'm writing right now. I'm writing a book. It's a novel I'm writing. It's a book, fictional book. I've never done a fictional book. I've never done really a novel. It's just a story I've come up with. And it's about curiosity, the word curiosity, and limitlessness. And that's about it. I don't know yet. I'm just still figuring it out. And I'm really writing, right now developing my next course in my school for next year, the Game of Life course. So I've been working feverishly on that. And that's a lot of pieces to that. So I'm working on that. And the time I also do the book. I'm in my second chapter of the book. I don't know where it's going, which is interesting because I've never done a book before where I don't have an outline. But this is a book I do not have an outline. And I'm just free-forming the whole thing. And I went out and bought a computer. And yeah, I love it. So we'll see. I have the freedom, thank you, universe, at this age to, and I'm somehow retired, that I have the freedom to do that. And I always want to just do that. I'm also writing a musical. So I'm in the middle of doing that. But I have a lot of things at once, don't I? So my mother came to that medium the other day and she said, you have to focus. It's very, very true. Okay. Mary Dominic, hi, Mary, I remember your name. Can there be such a thing as too many visitors in spirit form? I don't think so. Can they change their appearance? Yes. I think they can. They can present themselves to you as they want to. So there are many beings that will present themselves to someone, let's say when they're passing over. Happened to my mother, who was a priest, and he wasn't per se a priest in the spirits world, but he knew that putting on that garb and that personality, she would feel much more comfortable passing over because she was very Catholic. Even people see Jesus. Is it really Jesus? Well, it could be a being that puts on that personification that person would feel more comfortable. I think they can do that. I won't know if I pass over, but I think anything is possible. Okay. Julie Valentine Brown, how can you reach out to benign spirit in your house without accelerating the activity? We have two separate entities, and I'd like to find out more about them, but don't them affect my family. Well, you're living in fear, number one. You don't want them to affect your family, which means that's fear based. And we keep them alive in that space by fear. Wouldn't you think that you like to find out why, if you go there in neutral space and ask them what they're doing, why don't just quietly and ask if anyone's here, come into my mind. I'm here right now. What would you like in this space? You might not be aware that you've passed out of this vibration, this space here, but it's time to move on. We keep on moving on. So speak to them that way, but don't come from fear. Create a beautiful, loving light. Create a tunnel in your house. That's what Marianne Mikowski would do with the Ghost Whisper show, and she would go to places that she felt were earthbound, but some people were earthbound, and she create this lovely light in this corner of the room, and it'd go in it. That's something you can do. You can't come from fear. Fear is earth. Fear is human. Fear is ego. Only love is real. So use love for that. Okay, but don't say anything fear about your family. Don't you put that out to the universe. Okay. All right, sir. Good luck in that. Rebecca Jean. Okay, Rebecca. Do you believe that artists and performance players that are on a different spiritual level than most people, that they are guides, that they show us the way? Great question, Rebecca. Really, really great question. Do you believe that artists and performance players, etc., so creative people in that respect, right? But we can say dancers, we can say composers, and so forth, are on a different spiritual level than most people? Interesting. That they are guides, that they show us a window that educates us in life. Very interesting question. I'm going to say yes and no. So, what I'm going to say to you is this. I believe that everything is energy. I think that everything, and energy to me is creativity, right? And I believe that every single person is God, and God is that light, God is that energy, God is pure love, right? And that it demonstrates itself in humans, in beings, by that and how they use that energy, how they use that God force. And there's some souls who've had many, many experiences and lifetimes and beliefs and work as artists and want to design things, want to create things, where they're great creating. They use that energy to create, whether it's music, whether it's dance, whether it's acting, whether it's writing, so many things. I'm one of many different talents, obviously, but I do believe that, and I believe that others are great scientists and great doctors, medicine people, great accountants, great inventors. So they're using that energy in that way. So are they more aware spiritually than other people? I don't think so. I think it's just how you choose to use the energy, what radio station you tune into. I don't think one is more than the other. It's just using energy a certain way. That's what I think. And I think once we, as humans, in this human temporary experience, the more diversification we see, we experience, we allow people to be themselves in all diverse ways and open up to different ways of being, because God is endless and limitless. Then it helps us to evolve and opens our expansion up, our points of view. So and it's so interesting. I don't think they're necessarily evolve, but they're using that God energy in a different way. That's all. Okay, I hope that answers it. One more question, and then we'll finish for the day. Okay. Uh, okay, let's see. Keith Cousins, James, what does this mean? My dad just passed away, but 2 days before he gave me the light and put it in my hand. Well, Keith, that's very interesting. So right before somebody passes, many times, they will tend to do things which is very different than their usual self. They'll often talk about loved ones who passed over, or this person is there in the room. They come because they come to get them at least like a month, 3 weeks ahead, and they'll act strange. I can't say person what that means, but light, Could be that he's ready to pass over. He probably was ready to pass over. I think he probably wanted you to know that he was going to be okay. I think that's it. And you should probably have asked him to come in your dreams. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised if it was about the light, the light or the light. Sure. So good, very good. I hope you all can have a wonderful, wonderful holidays. If you celebrate Christmas and Kwanzaa and the rest of these holidays here, happy season of light, and my love to you all, and happy holidays. And please join me tonight, both sides now at 6 o'clock tonight, where Kelly and I talk about next year, 2022, and about this year as well, closing out this year, highlights of this year. And I'm gonna go finish my Christmas list. So thank you, everybody. See you next time.